Like, so I'm talking to Christy, and the very first words out of her mouth are, well, are you going to call me every Monday and check on me and make sure that I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do? I say, you're probably not going to be a good fit for me, because I don't think a motivated person needs me to call them every week. Right? You're not ready for me to coach you. You may be ready for another program, but not me, because I'm not in that business. I just consider that a babysitting business. You with me? I only want to work with highly motivated professionals who really want to go play at the next level. That means they already come with their own batteries included, right? They're not expecting me to wind them up. They're wound up. They just need strategy. They need to, okay? So the EOS is very critical. Now, what is the part you struggle with the most about the EOS? What's catching you up? Anything?
I think for some people it's actually when to use it. I think you have to be careful. If you use it too soon you sound stupid.
Creepy.
Or not stupid, it's creepy.
It's creepy. If I call in and the first thing out of Christy's, if I call in, right, and the very first word out of her mouth is, hey, let me tell you what we believe down here.
Yeah.
Now you sound like a cult.
Yeah. Right.
Right? So you're right. This is a challenge, but there is an appropriate time. It's kind of like what you were now talking about. Let's just talk. Let's just build some rapport. Let's just have some discovery. Hey, there's a couple key questions I want to ask you. And then there's appropriate time to pivot and go, well, let me tell you a few things we believe. Okay? Or if you're in front of a group, I did a B&I meeting last week where they get 45 seconds. And it was kind of a social experiment because I wanted to see what people would say. So is it Maggiano's? Everybody gets 45 seconds. Almost every person led with what they do. I own a chimney company. I own a landscape company. I do this. And when it got to me, I stood up and I said, hi, I'm Coach Michael Burt, and I really believe 4 things. I believe everybody needs a good coach in life. I believe a good coach can change your life. I believe those that have a coach earn 3 and 4 times the amount of money than those that don't. And I also believe in attracting business versus chasing it. Because of those beliefs, there's really 3 or 4 areas we work with people on. How to explain their services. You see what I'm saying? And I did it to see, I led with what I believe, not what I did. Now what was interesting is I had to leave that meeting early, so I get my little bag, my little black bag, and I get up to leave, and guess what?
People followed you.
So there's a little dude sitting over there, and as I'm leaving, he runs out there to the thing. And he's like, hey. He's like, you and I believe the same things. How do I learn more about your coaching? Now, out of every 30 people, how many are going to be interested? Law of diffusion, 4.8. So out of that room of 30, I knew going in that only 4 were the 4 I was looking for. How did I find the 4?
He jumped up. No.
That's 1.
Yeah.
That's 1.
I guess you followed up.
What did I share? Did I share what I did?
Contact information.
Share what I... Have you been drinking wine? That's good. Yeah, you're good. Your little mind is just running around. I love it. I love it. So yeah, what I shared though, what I want to get you across is pretend you were at that B&I meeting and it came around to you. What if you said I help people find their house, or I sell real estate, or work at the Wilson Group, whatever. That's not what people do business with other people who believe the same things they do. Right? So that's how I found the 4.8, by the way, is I just shared what I believe. That's it.
Coach, I think it's important to know too that you don't have to have one belief system.
No.
Like you said, you get
Yeah.
4 things you
Yeah.
believe.
Yeah.
So your EOS can be inclusive, or you have 4 different, like.
Absolutely.
I've got 4. Tony was talking about as a broker. I've got a whole different EOS as a broker that
Yes.
I would use as
That's right.
as a listing agent or a buyer's agent. Or
And if you're recruiting people, recruiting is just aligning yourself with other people that believe what you do. So during the recruiting pitch, it's just, I'm sitting. So I used to work these college basketball programs like Vanderbilt, and I would go in and coach their staff, and I said, you're signing people up that don't believe the same things you do. Okay? So if I'm a basketball coach at Vandy, and you come to Vandy to get education, and I believe you're coming to play basketball, but you believe you're coming there first to get education and play basketball, you and I already don't believe the same things. Because I want you to play basketball first and get an education second. You want to get an education first. So when I start pushing you, you don't believe the same things, okay? Or they're not priority. So recruiting, same concept. Sit down and say, here's what we believe. Here's why we believe it. Here's what we do. If we fit, let's keep going. If we don't fit, let's stop. Okay? And it's okay if we don't, okay? So how many people at the end, are you comfortable making the ask? Hey, if this sounds good to you, what would stop us from moving forward? Okay? So is that a good exercise for you? Now, like, you could have beliefs about everything. Like, how many of you believe that real estate is one of the best investments you can ever make in your life, right? That's a belief. So if you and I are having a conversation about the stock market, you may be convincing enough to say, look, I can understand why you'd want to invest money in the stock, but let me give you a few examples of some real estate that I've invested in that has been great returns. Can you get those returns in the stock market? And you may, in that one conversation, be able to shift me. So you got all these beliefs about real estate, about purchasing real estate, about appreciation. So you could have 100 beliefs. You pivot and share those in different times. Okay? All right, one more exercise, then we'll let you take a break. If I were to pin you down and say, going into 2018, we need clarity about your top 4, your primary strategies that you're going to use to generate new business. I want you to tell the person beside you in 2018, based on what I've done in 2017, my top 4 strategies are these. And I want you to rank them 1 to 4. This is number 1. This is number 2. This is number 3. This is number 4. And I also want you to tell them what your 2 secondary strategies would be. And a secondary strategy, like I don't consider Facebook a primary strategy for me. I consider that a secondary strategy. I don't consider my database, the way I use a database, a primary strategy. I consider it a secondary strategy. But it is very critical because it still feeds the machine. So you understand what I'm saying here? A primary is, this is my go-to. A secondary is, I need to do this, but I don't expect all the business to come from here. So I need 4 primary and 2 secondary, okay? So I want you to tell the person, going into 2018, these are my 4 primary and my 2 secondaries. Okay, take off. How many people are sitting down every night for 7 to 15 minutes and mapping out their next day?
I have started.
Okay.
Since our last meeting, because I
Right.
realized it's the only way to do it.
Okay. Now, your days are very important, guys. Maxwell always said, what's in your daily agenda says a lot about your priorities in life. And I think if you are serious, like if you notice in my planner, I even put, a lot of times when my family time is in there, my personal time is in there, it's like a scheduled appointment. You see what I mean? My devotional time is in there. I literally write it into my day. Like, this time is for me. Okay? This is time when I'm going to spend with my family, as if it's an appointment. Okay? So when you're telling me about your strategies, I should see those strategies in the way you map your day out. So, when you're thinking of strategies, think hit list, every day I'm working new money, farm club, people we're trying to close, top 25 is one of my big ones. So all of these are included. I should see that in your day. So if I said, show me your planner, it should show me, not like prospecting time. Like, I think you should really literally write out who you calling. I mean, you don't put prospecting time in there. I'm calling these 5 people. And when that time comes, stick to it, right? So when you think of primary strategies, you need to be clear about how you're spending your time around your best strategies. Like, if you tell me you're great face-to-face, and when you get people face-to-face, you close deals, the very first question I'm going to ask you is pull out your calendar and show me how many face-to-face meetings you took this week. And I'll hear people say, oh, when I get people face-to-face, I close, my percentage is 92% close ratio. And I say, how many people did you see this week? 2. And I'm like, that's it? You saw 2 people? If you're that good face-to-face, you need to be seeing a lot of people face-to-face. One of the top financial advisors we coach takes 25 face-to-face meetings a week. And he does not count them unless he spends 1 hour with that person.
An hour?
An hour. Now, let me tell you what he's doing. He's meeting current clients, so he got a huge referral base because he spends deep, valuable time with his people. So it's not like 10 minutes. It's for him, that's what his strategy is. But that's really his only strategy. He doesn't do a lot of other things. Does a couple appreciation events throughout the year, customer appreciation events, but his number 1 strategy is he gets out there and he sees his current clients, he talks to his past clients, and he sees his potential referrals. And he's dealing with people's money. So, it's not like, hey, let's talk for 5 minutes. It's complicated. Let's sit down and explain it. Let me draw it up. But that's that could be his only strategy, by the way. He may not need 5 if that one's working. So just be thinking about what your primaries are and what your secondaries are. But most real estate agents do not have enough strategies. They're using 1 or 2 strategies, and it's just not enough to drive enough volume. And they're like, well, why is it not working? It'd be like as a basketball coach, me using 1 or 2 plays and they're not working. But I keep running those same plays. Right? Yeah, just, it's like, hey, it's this. I need a few more plays in my toolkit here, okay? So we're going to take a break right here. When we come back, we're going to go through we're going to go through your follow-up. I want you to tell the person who's with you your best follow-up scripts. Like I use this one a lot. Every day you don't take action, we lose 10% of momentum. I can't help you until you commit. But once you commit, I'm not going to let you fail. You see what I'm saying? I have all these scripts I use to get a person to take action. And there's about 10 that I consistently use. We can have this conversation today or we can have it 6 months from now. But you and I both know nothing's going to change. Right? So I want you thinking about your best closing lines when you're following up with people. And then I want you really thinking linear, punch, non-linear, jab. What are your best non-linear jabs? How many people are using the Viewed It yet? Anybody? I know Christy used it. The Viewed It, VIEWEDIT.com. That's a free tool that you have, a Google extension. I like that as a follow-up tool. It's actually faster than emailing people if you really want to know the truth, because you can cut a quick Viewed It, click and send, and before you do all of that, you could have already done a video and sent that out, okay? So that's a non-linear touch that you can use. So let's take a short break. When we come back, we'll get into the follow-up. The play is I have called in and I am interested in some real estate with you, right? But just because I'm interested does not mean I'm ready to pull out a checkbook and write a check. But I am interested, okay? Now, the stats kick in here and tell us that if I'm interested in something, how many touches will it take to convert me to move forward on something? Okay? 7 to 15, 80% of the time. What you're really doing is day trading for attention. Okay? You are not competing versus other people, so to speak. You're competing for a person's attention. How do you get it? How do you keep it? How do you maintain it? How do you get it back once you've lost it? Okay? So there is something called linear and nonlinear touches in your follow-up system. So I want you to take a minute and explain to the other person your best linear and nonlinear touches. So a linear touch is that you come at a person pretty hard. Like me pushing a person going, hey, look, we can have this talk today or we can have it 6 months from now. That's a linear punch, right? Like, why would you wait? Like, we're losing momentum every day you don't take action. Okay? A nonlinear touch is, hey, I'm doing this with someone else just like you. Let me show you some of the results that we've gotten. Here's a testimonial from them. Take a look at it when you have a minute, right? That's a nonlinear touch. A video could be a nonlinear touch. I think for every 4 jabs you make, there needs to be 1 right hook. So you jab, jab, right hook. Jab, jab. If it's all just the right hook every time, then that's a turnoff. Because like, man, just chill out, right? Like I'm thinking through this. So what I see people is they use the same touches, which become monotonous. It's like, here we go again. And they don't have enough nonlinear touches in their arsenal.
So could you say nonlinear are more of a passive?
Yes.
And linear is the active?
That's right. Passive and active would be a good way to describe that. And a nonlinear needs to make a person think. Mm-hmm. It's a touch that makes me go, that's a new angle. Like I haven't thought about that this way, right? Like let's say that I'm looking at an investment property and you come in and show, and I'm kind of sitting on the fence with you, and you come in and show me appreciation of a similar property, right? Of how much money I could potentially make. I may go, man, I hadn't thought about it that way. Because really, remember, you're competing for attention. There may be a little Merrill Lynch person over here trying to pitch me on investing in the market, and he's saying, I can get you an 8% or 10% return, or on a good day this. But you're sitting there competing versus, you don't even know you're competing against him. But you're giving me these little nonlinear touches. Hey, take a look at this, right? And it's just what you want to do is make me think. Just remember that. The nonlinear touch is to make me think. Look, I can understand why you'd want to wait, but that subdivision is popping. And I mean, these houses are going quick, right? So I'm not trying to push you, but you do need to know that if we wait much longer, we may lose out on this opportunity. So remember this statement: people are always more motivated by what they'll lose than what they'll gain. Okay? So if you tackle what they're losing, look, you're going to miss out on this opportunity. This is big. How many of you, somebody told you to get in and buy some Bitcoin not long ago? And you didn't buy it, right? Good for you. Good for you. So here's my point though. Hey, you're going to miss out if you don't buy in, man. If you don't get in. This is scarcity, exclusivity. So take a minute and tell the person beside you what your best linear or nonlinear touches are right now that you're using, okay? Just explain your linears and nonlinears. Okay. Good. All right. Who's got a great right hook? Who's got a great right hook of a linear? All right.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. Are you ready? Would you like to share it? Who's got a great right hook?
Well, a lot of times people will say, "Oh, I just want to sleep on it and everything." I'll say, "Well, if you're going to sleep on, if you need to sleep on it, you won't be sleeping in it."
Yeah, that's a good one. Yep. Okay, good. It's true though.
Yeah, I mean, in this market, but it's only because you know the market's that fast.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure if you were out in,
Yeah.
Montgomery County or something.
Yeah, I can understand. Remember our 5 steps to overcome objection? I listen and acknowledge. I understand. I understand why you want to sleep on it. Okay? But the challenge is come back and say, but I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't tell you that if you got to sleep on it another night, you may not be able to sleep in it. Right? That's the challenge. Now remember, the challenge is not a negative thing. It's just redirecting them to make them think a little bit. It's like, ooh, we really need to take action on this.
And I like how you said, but I wouldn't be doing my job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, your job, you got to think of yourself, and I don't, because you do this every day, I really look at you as you're my agent. You're negotiating on my behalf. That means sometimes you got to give me hard feedback about taking action, not taking action. You're a counselor. You're a coach, right? And sometimes you got to tell people, look, I brought you exactly what you told me you wanted me to get. I even brought it on a silver platter. I've even got it down to this price, right? I have worked to get this. Now, what's stopping you from taking action? You told me you wanted to do this. So I don't think it's bad at all of you to just push a person. Now, like I think I used this example with you last time. Some of the biggest decisions you ever make in your life are a result of some creative tension in your life. Creative tension is where another person just pushes you a little bit. And it may feel a little bit uncomfortable, but sometimes it's like you need to hear that. It's like, hey, I needed you to kick me in the butt here, right? And you're the professional. Like, you're like the doctor. I'm coming down to you to tell me what I need to do. Don't let me control this. You control it. Right? So if you ever have a chance to read, there's a lot of great books over here. The Challenger Sale is where all this came from. It's a book called The Challenger Sale. And it was where these two social scientists go in and research and study something, not knowing what they're going to find. So it'd be like bringing in a social scientist here to work with your team, and they go in asking one question: what makes top agents top agents? They research all of this stuff and then come back, and they don't come up with their own opinion. The research tells them the top agent at the Wilson Group does this. You see what I'm saying? So they don't go in with a conclusion. A social scientist just goes in and says, hey, let me go in and see what's going on here. What makes a top agent a top agent? And then they do data and research. Well, what they found out is that 40% of all top salespeople in a study of 6,000 people were what they call challengers. Only 7 to 10% were relationship builders. So a relationship builder wants to be liked. A relationship builder supplicates. A relationship builder would say, I understand, you need to think about it. Let me call you back next week. Here's my business card. They're soft. A challenger, I want you to think of a challenger as a person that takes control. Like, hey, you came to me for a reason, and I'm going to show you how to do this, right? So I just think about some of the top people that we get to coach. Man, they're all challengers. They control the scenario. Wouldn't you agree? When they get on their phone, it's like, I'm glad you called me. I'm here to negotiate on your behalf. We're going to take care of this. Okay? So just consider that, 40% challengers. So when I tell you the follow-up is predicated on this challenge concept, it's just me pushing you just a little bit. So you go, she's right. I do need to take action on this. This is the house we've always wanted. Why are we waiting, right? Sometimes they just need a little bit of validation from an expert. And an expert's looking at this going, man, I don't know why you wouldn't do this. This is a great deal. If I wasn't in the house I want, I'd want this house. Bam, good, draw it up. So remember, selling is about what? Momentum and energy. That's what you're selling. I'm excited, you're keeping me excited. Well, the follow-up, when you lose my attention, now you've lost all that momentum. So this is why you got to stay in people's face and keep them excited. Take a pic. Visuals are very good on this. Look at this. Take a picture of this. Watch this video. And what that does is that will stimulate their creativity again. Okay? So the 7 touches. Anybody else got a good linear or non-linear touch they want to share?
I've kind of been using, when I have buyers that are like, I think I'm going to wait till the spring.
Yeah.
And so I've been using the excuse of the market there being a little bit less buyers right now, so you can negotiate a little bit better.
Yeah.
And people are wanting to sell their house by the end of the year. If you wait till the spring, everybody's wanting to wait in the spring as well.
Yep.
So you can use the timing to your advantage.
That's right. That's exactly right. Because that's true, right? You're not manipulating people. You're telling them the truth. You're just telling them the truth. Okay? I can understand why you'd want to wait till spring. Think on this. If we wait till the spring, here's things that could happen. We don't know what the rate's going to be. It's going to be a hot market. This is actually the perfect time for you to be selling this house. And they may go, okay. It's so interesting to me when you really push a person that a lot of times, right, they'll say, all right, you're right.
And same with sellers. Because a lot of sellers are like, well, we should wait till the spring, which they could, but in the spring, a lot more houses are going to be on the market.
Yeah.
So there's more competition.
Okay. So does everybody understand linear and nonlinear touches? So should there ever be a shortage of you not having something to go back to a person and say? No, never again. You should have plenty of stuff in your arsenal to go back with. Any videos, okay? All right, last exercise. I want you to look at the person beside you as if you are in the contract to close phase of this part. So I've said yes. We're excited. We're working through the deal, and I want you to talk about how you would ask for a referral at this point. Not post-closing, not the house is closed, but contract to close, okay? How would you say it? Because I got to get you comfortable saying it. Okay? All right, take off. Contract to close. You're asking for a referral. So let me ask you this question. If in 2018 you get better, much better, in how you explain your services, how you work a selling system, how you follow up, and how you extract referrals, do you think you make more money? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
These are 4 areas that agents lose money in, okay? So the reason we're making you practice is because we've been teaching you this stuff, but it needs to become part of who you are. You're hearing it a lot, okay? The retention piece, people who take it and run with it are going to be very, very good, okay? All right, so I want to close today by introducing a concept that we're going to be talking about in the new year called person of interest. I want you to think agent of interest. You are a person of interest. I want you to think of a person right now, okay, and for the purposes of this, I was going to say you can't say Christy, but for the purposes of this, you can't say Christy, okay? Christy is a person of interest. But and Karen, both of them, you can say both of them. You can't say either one of those, let's say that. I want you to think of, when you think of Nashville, when you think of real estate, I want you to think of the top agents, okay? And I want you just for a second to think of like people that dominate, okay? I mean, you've obviously got people here that you could look to and say, hey, this is it. But even Christy's got people that you're thinking, right? There's a few people that you think of that, man, that person. And I want you to think of them in terms of ingredients. They have certain ingredients. What do they have that you feel like you don't have? Okay? So when I look at people of interest that are operating at much higher levels than me, I'm always asking this question, what do they have? Do they have a bigger network? Do they have a bigger following? Do they have a bigger tribe of people? Are they better at communicating? What is it, right? So, and then I start going, can I accumulate those skills? What can I do to accumulate those skills, okay? So I want you to think of a person of interest as a person that has figured out a way to dominate a lot of the dialogue as it relates to real estate. So no matter where you go, it's like they're always there. It's like, my goodness, I see their name everywhere. People are constantly talking about them. Their volume is ridiculous. They have really become agents of interest, right? So what are they doing? So the first question I would ask you is, do you aspire to become an agent of interest? And if you do, what ingredients are you willing to acquire in 2018? Okay, so I want you to write down these ingredients. I want you to write down these ingredients, because these are the ingredients of people of interest. Number one, they've got specific knowledge. Not general knowledge. They're not generalist. They're typically very, very skilled from a knowledge perspective in a very specified area. They're experts. When people think of that, they think of them. It's like when people think of real estate, they think of this one person. Okay? Second skill set is they have impeccable skills. So I want you to think, man, they know how to overcome objection. They know how to follow up. They know how to work a room. Their skill sets are really, really strong. Okay? Third, they have inconvenient effort, which means they are simply willing to do things other people are not willing to do. Okay? They're not convenienced. They understand that success can be incredibly inconvenient. Okay? Number four, they have a contagious confidence about them. They are selling confidence. And when it comes to real estate, they just reek of confidence. Not arrogance, confidence. Okay? And confidence comes through what? Demonstrated capacity. They have just done it so many times that they are good. Okay? Now, an insecure person will see a confident person as arrogant. Okay? A confident person, like when I wrote that book with Coach Insell, the coach at MTSU, people would say, oh, he's so arrogant. And I would say, no. He is incredibly confident. And why? Because he's in the Hall of Fame. Because he's won 20 championships, right? And I would say if you take away his confidence, he's just a regular old basketball coach. This is the one thing that makes him great, is his ability to convince other people they're better than what they are. You follow me? Like, that's his deal, okay? So if you pull that away, that's his special, okay? They also have a high likability, which is energy. It's an energy, positivity, upbeat. Okay? Sometimes the more successful some people become, the less likable they become. Haven't you seen that before? Is they used to be likable until they made it big, and now they're not likable. So I would just encourage you, Tim McGraw's got a song, stay humble and kind. Just remember that. No matter how successful you become, stay humble and kind. All right, so the next piece is connectivity. Connectivity. I call that being good for all time zones. You can represent a farmer, or you can represent, somebody wearing an expensive suit, whatever. You're good with all groups of people. Some people, they're only good with some groups of people. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, you can only put them over here with this group. They're not good with that group. Connectivity is a big piece of being a person of interest. I got two more. Deep networks. And we'll go to work in 2018 on how you build deep, entrenched networks, because this is very critical to being the agent of interest we're talking about. And the last one is free prize. That means there is something that you get as a relationship with them that you can't get anywhere else. It's like an added bonus. You know how they have the free prize in the Cheerios or whatever? It's like a little Lucky Charms. it's like a bonus that you can only get with them. Like the agent I use, his free prize is he is a huge advocate. He is out there fighting for me, constantly sending me referrals, putting people in our coaching program. So the extra I get with him is not just the real estate. I really get a true advocate. You see what I mean? And that transcends the real estate. Okay? So I want you to be thinking, what's your free prize? What do you bring to the party that nobody else brings to the equation? Now, when you add all of that up, guess what happens? You are on your A game today, girl. You're on your A game. So for you, let's close it out with this. For you, you may just ask yourself, as I move into 2018, what are the ingredients that I feel like I'm missing? Maybe you say I'm missing confidence right now. Maybe my network is not deep enough. Maybe I don't expect you to say my likability is low, but if your likability is low and you listen, sometimes you need to self-adjust your own attitude, right? I know I do. Sometimes I got a bad attitude and I need attitude adjustment. Well, that drives down your likability because like every time I see you, you got a bad attitude about something, or you're whining or you're complaining or you're griping. That you may say that's what I got to work on in 2018. But if you put all those 8 things together, you know what'll happen? Your attractiveness in the market will go up, your visibility will go up, and people will start being attracted to you. Okay? When you're around those people, man, they are movers and shakers. They are really the innovators. They're those 2% of innovators we're looking for. Okay? All right, so I will see you again after the break. So I hope you have a great Christmas. Thank you for being so coachable, and I really enjoyed working with you. So God bless you and have a great Christmas, okay? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.